So, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today we have with us Anthony from Velocity, and Jason from Rugged Telemetry, and Curtis from floLIVE. We are going to tell you a little bit about, before we start and go into the Rugged Telemetry use case, I think that the most important part of this webinar is the emphasis of the partnership created by those three companies that created such a successful case. So a little bit about the companies. So we have Rugged Telemetry is the solution provider, is the vendor of developed industrial grade telemetric solutions. Velocity as the connectivity partner, which provide all the connectivity needed to run the telemetry devices, and floLIVE as the technology and infrastructure provider that provide all the underlying technology behind it. So we will start with a short introduction of each of the companies. So let's start with Rugged Telemetry. Jason, for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the introduction. And thank you guys for joining us today. So let me start with a little background about myself and Rugged Telemetry. So my name is Jason Carabetta, right? I've been working in the IoT solutions since the early 2000s. I actually began my career with Orbcom. It's where I help companies develop applications using wireless communications, primarily satellite and cellular. And I think that experience really gave me the tools to understand all the moving pieces, right? What it takes to design and deliver a true turnkey solution. So Rugged Telemetry is really a product of all those years of building solutions. And I think just as importantly, right, it's seeing where other providers were falling short. So Rugged Telemetry today, right, we're an industrial IoT company. We're based in Danville, Kentucky. We create solutions that really monitor and control critical infrastructure. We do it across water, wastewater, ag, oil and gas. And when we set out to build these solutions, right, we look at every aspect of the system. And we like to break it down into three key areas. So you have the hardware side. So we build this industrial grade equipment that's used in all kinds of harsh environments, right? We're on lift stations, tank sites, pump stations. And we like to thoroughly field tests. We like to run through, as we say, all the what ifs, right, before our customers ever have to. The second piece would be the platform side. So we probably have our platform guys listening. So it's definitely a critical portion of the solution that we build. But each application is designed, right, to improve customers' operational efficiency. So we like to deliver those tool sets, right, that are tailored to each industry. And then finally, communication, right? It's sometimes overlooked, but definitely a critical portion of the solution. So if you have operate without reliable communication, right, the hardware and the platform side, they can't deliver that critical functionality, right? The SMS alerts, the notifications. So it's what we're here to talk about today. I'm looking forward to having a good discussion, and really around our approach to communications as a complete solution.
Slide. And now for Velocity, Anthony.
How you doing? So, Anthony Prodopsaltis, principal at Velocity IoT. Our focus for the company and what we want to do is making sure that the devices that you bring to the table, that you bring into production, that you bring to your customers, are always connecting. We look at this from a few different aspects. One, from the infrastructure that you need or the locations that you need to work on by offering, this global DIM and IMSI strategy. And then, of course, in addition to that, also looking at how you create and deploy your product. Jason and I have run into each other a long time ago when he was at Orbcom and I was at a VC company working in the IoT space. And the mindset and what we've learned over these years till now, all right, is it's not just about which product you pick or what devices you put into or chips you put into your product. It's how you make it all work together, right? So Jason's overview of the product is kind of putting together this whole solution for his end customer, and we focus on how we can help Jason with the connectivity and the integration into his devices. So we take that, extension of engineering support, the extension of overview of what and how he's deploying his product, the process in which his customers take that product and put it into circulation, because it all has an effect on how the device will attach to the networks. And that has always been, Velocity's goal is to make it easier for the customers and for our customers and partners to take that product and now deploy it with confidence that regardless of where it's being deployed, regardless of the situation, it's going to be able to have a successful connection and will be able to pass its data. That is so desperately needed in some of these occasions, right? Where it's critical infrastructure, and we have to make sure that regardless of where where it's being deployed, that the solution has been thought out properly so that you can have that connectivity. We do this again, not just for our enterprise customers, but also for our onesie twosie long tail partners that we hope that their product and their foresight in product is going to explode and expand out into much larger things. So we make our product easily available. It's available on DigiKey. You can order SIMs and really sign up for a Flex platform, which is simplified. And then we also do our enterprise level implementations where, again, it's a more defined strategy as far as how you're deploying your product, where you're deploying it to, and what you need in order to be successful with your product in that location. So we take this white glove approach. It's very detailed in support, very detailed in how we test the product before you even release it, in order to make sure that you have that best experience. And we do this all on the structure of my good friend here, Curtis, environment. So I can hand off now to Curtis.
Hey, thanks, Anthony. First, I want to say, in honesty, I missed all of the prep sessions here, so I didn't get a chance to talk to Jason. And Jason, thanks for connecting the dots for me. The OrbCom piece there, I was like, I know Jason, I know him. Where do I see him? There we go. So really, I'll tell you, this is a collection of old friends that have worked together in the industry, and we have this commonality of being around. I've been in IoT since 2007, telecommunications since '99. So, a lot of what you will hear today in the session is really about years and years of experience working with customers, building solutions, seeing it from every aspect of deployment, and really coming together with a common set of technologies and solutions and experience to help customers improve their experience and ultimately get the value that they're looking for out of their products. I'm president of Americas for floLIVE, based in Dallas, and really, if you look at what we do from a floLIVE perspective, we take the experience of understanding connectivity, IoT connectivity, and really optimize it to the absolute best solution that a customer can have. We effectively want to securely connect everything anywhere in the world, so that we have the best connectivity that anyone can offer there. If you look at the way we do this there, we have a core network infrastructure that we own, that's designed, built, managed by floLIVE engineers, and we connect that all over the world We connected with leading MNOs in regions. We have global MNOs that we work with for a global footprint, but where we need to regionalize, like we do in the US, like we do in Brazil and Turkey and China and India, in Africa and other places there, we localize that with leading MNOs in the world. So when you look at the resiliency that Jason mentioned and some of those benefits there, like having a highly available network is absolutely critical. We ensure that you have 1, 2, 3 leading operators in every country in the world, and the ability to seamlessly fail over to the different operators, all with one SKU of a SIM. And all of it from an operational efficiency perspective, connected into a single platform in the back end that's real time, that manages all the SIM parameters, switching between SIMs. So not only do we automate it from the edge at the SIM with the device, we can also do automation remotely if needed to update the SIM as we need to. So that single pane of glass solution that we have allows Jason and Anthony and team to manage everything remotely. All of our services are built on microservices, so we offer all of these as independent components or complete components. If you kind of go clockwise for this, the connectivity management platform is really the wrapper of everything that you see around. Our core network that is sold independently. In some cases, if you're a heavy MVNO or an MNO, that needs a core network for your IoT business. If you're an enterprise or an MNO, MVNO that want to have local breakout so you can have data sovereignty, higher performance in a particular area, we could do that. If you have legacy devices that are connected to other CMPs and you want a single pane of glass, we could bring that into view for you as an enterprise, as an MVNO, as a service provider like Jason here. And then we're forward looking from a consumer eSIM, whether you're talking about SGP 22 or 32, we support that. Then we also help our MVNO and MNO partners with the enabling solution there from a platform to connect other solutions, other heavy MVNOs into their solution as well. And then the last one you see there that we've seen a growing need as you have sunset of 2G, 3G networks for voice over LTE. So that's a new product that we're introducing to the market there. And then I won't forget that the satellite piece that I didn't mention in the previous slide is a new one that we've added. And we're seeing a lot of great traction with the NB-IoT over satellite. So not the satellite that Jason worked with at Orbcomm, but same satellites, but different technology, connecting devices with a single radio over the NB-IoT interface there. So this is really the collection of what we offer from floLIVE, really helping Jason, Anthony, and other customers really optimize their connectivity experience.
All right, cool. Thank you very much for the introduction. I'd like to start with some question to you guys in order to, fulfill the curiosity. I see many questions are starting to flow in. So Jason, I want to start with you. All right. Before Rugged Connect, what were the biggest challenges you saw municipalities facing in managing their water and water system?
So before Rugged Connect, right, I think we saw a few recurring struggles, right, with municipalities. Communications probably at the top of the list, right? Many of those older systems, they depended on old phone lines, the point-to-point communication. There were a lot of cell-only setups. So if you're a municipality, right, your cell system goes down or you lose that point-to-point for a few hours or a few days, operators essentially are blind to critical events, right? And that's what we're building our systems to react to that stuff. And then I think the other thing we get a lot is just limited visibility. So legacy SCADA systems, right? They relied on older relay logic. They weren't built to deliver data like today's systems are. And on some of that older logic, you really can't effectively manage the water systems with the telemetry. They're also pretty expensive to maintain. And then on top of that, I think we see your smaller municipalities, they used to have a lot of in-house panel shops, right? So they could build and maintain their own panels, but again, that gets expensive. And when you're doing something ground up, it's very time consuming. So when we went out and set to develop Rugged Connect, really, and introduce that product to the market, and not just to solve the recurring issues, right? There are a lot of things that we see in the industry that we thought needed improvement. We purpose built a solution, right? Not just for for specifically the water wastewater market, but we wanted something that was highly configurable, rugged, and reliable, right? We set out with those goals. And that really started with the dual path communications, right? Having both a cellular and satellite backhaul. And we didn't stop there, right? So if we're building this dual path communication, we wanted the most reliable cellular network, right? Or the most reliable cellular services we could put into that dual mode communication. It was one of the leading reasons that we partnered with Velocity, right? They essentially became an extension of Rugged Telemetry, right, for the communication piece. And now, right, the utilities that we're rolling out to, they have visibility into their systems. It doesn't matter where they're located. The whole setup has been streamlined, right? No need for that custom engineering, which was definitely a recurring issue. And operators really have the confidence, right, that when they put out one of our systems, right, with this resilience communication, they're going to get those alerts from the field, right? They're going to have the notifications and be able to do remote operations. So we really shifted operations from being reactive, right, constantly fixing the problems, after they've escalated, right, after a lift station's overflowing, it's too late, to really that proactive approach, right? If you're continually monitoring, right, and you have that reliable communications, and also making sure we have the right data to make better decisions.
Interesting. Thank you. Anthony, as Jason just mentioned, connectivity was the core of making this possible. From your perspective, how did you find a partnership with floLIVE to enable the kind of resiliency Jason mentions that was needed for a Watertown project?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So multiple aspects to this, right? The core infrastructure that floLIVE has put together is really second to none. The ability for us to have multiple providers basically within one environment and allow us to switch automatically and natively, autonomously even through the infrastructure to allow these devices to connect, especially, again, critical infrastructure. These are things where you can't afford not to get the information, right? As the title for this the webinar is, right? Every drop counts, every piece of information counts, right? The benefit that we have to be able to switch to add or create even an IMSI environment or structure for Jason to take his devices, confidently bring them to a location out in the field where he doesn't need the prep time to do surveys and find which communication strategy is the best so he can select the IMSI or the carrier that's there. He doesn't have to worry about should there be a tower outage or something along the lines of an infrastructure outage with a specific carrier, right? Should it affect his communication. The ability that we have in order to autonomously switch from A to B in order to maintain connectivity and the infrastructure and the data running through is key to what we had to put together in order to get Jason to where he needed to be. And the infrastructure, of course, fully autonomous, fully redundant. It's actually it made our job extremely easy in order to facilitate the needs for Rugged Telemetry and their deployment.
Thank you. Curtis, as we heard, floLIVE's global local model was a big part of the story. How did your approach complement Velocity IoT connectivity layer to create a solution municipality can really trust on?
Yeah, I probably covered some of this a bit in the opening here, but if you look at what we're trying to solve here, it really demonstrates, the strength of our global local model, right? Where you see Velocity that has the customer expertise, go to market from a connectivity perspective there, and then Rugged brings in an application and that experience um, with delivering a solution, a robust solution there. You heard the word resilient mentioned multiple times. This is common that we're seeing across every vertical in industry there. Resilient connectivity leads to resilient, highly effective outcomes, business outcomes that all of the companies like Rugged are ultimately driving. So the missing piece is we need that connectivity backbone in place to ensure that resiliency across the whole of the solution. If the connectivity is broken, everything is broken. It is literally the heart that's pumping the blood to all of the systems here. So it's important for us to be highly resilient there. That's where we come in. That's exactly what we do and what we focus on. Here, deploying our local core network is a key piece there. So we're localizing it. And as Anthony mentioned, giving multiple network capabilities there. So you have coverage as king. If you don't have coverage, you don't have connectivity. So being able to access multiple networks, not having to do site surveys ahead of time, gets you to market faster there. And then, we're also compliant, that local piece where it's compliant. When we talk about municipalities, they want data to stay within country. They want to have highly available data there. So those are the pieces there that are critical that we've combined to bring this solution to this project.
Thank you. Now, the next question I want to address to all three of you. And Jason, I think I will start with you. In general, when public utilities are under constant pressure to balance cost effectiveness with the need for resilience, how does your collaborative approach reduce cost without sacrificing reliability?
So, right, the impact of partnering to me has the opposite effect, right, as it applies to Watertown, really all of our customers. When we take a look at resilience, right, and we talk about interfacing with Velocity and floLIVE, I think it starts with the technical guidance and the development, right? That's on the solutions side. And then it's the support after you launch. And I think this is something that you don't get in that traditional big carrier relationship, right? The partnership that we put in place, right? We get a high level of support and we get the guidance, right, during that development process. And then, one layer deeper, right, you have floLIVE, and they provide a network that was really built to deliver for these industrial IoT applications. And I think cost overlaps with resilience, right? When you engage with Velocity, and we were talking about before, right? They become an extension, right? So now I have in-house expertise, right, for the not only the support but during that critical development process. And I think this has really allowed us to control our costs. So I think we're putting out a product that is more resilient at a lower cost, right? And that becomes something that our customers appreciate because they're getting everything you would think of, right, at a much more reasonable price, and it has that robust resilience to it.
Anthony, what is your?
Yeah, so there's always a lot of questions when it comes to deployment strategy, right? Cost is always a factor, regardless of whether it's critical infrastructure or consumer product or anything along the lines. So we always look at the holistic need for the device and the communication. So looking at what the total return on investment would be based upon their deployment strategy. So going out to these locations that we said, there's no need to do a site survey. Normally there's a cost there, right? So for each of these deployments, you'd have to send someone ahead of time to kind of figure out what needs to be done. With the capabilities that we put in place, we made it easy for Jason to go out and deploy the product. And at that point, allow the system to autonomously connect to the best signal available to it. And that's key, right? That time, that reduced time, that reduced effort, even from the management side, right? Going into being able to see your data in the platform in real time, being able to understand exactly, what the network visualization looks like in that area, so that way you can make better decisions about like what ultimately you need. So as Jason said, right, there's a lot that's involved, and between the deployment strategy, the connectivity practice, it helps to understand that, so you can help reduce costs without sacrificing reliability, without sacrificing time and effort of your people that you're deploying there. So as much as there's a balance, right? There's also what do you need, right? What's your ultimate goal? Because there is a cost there, and it's never going to be the cheapest, but it is always going to be the most effective.
Understood. Curtis, what is your perspective here?
Yeah, we were talking here, I was thinking about a panel that I was on a couple of years ago, on this public utilities in particular and their IoT smart city initiatives. And one of the participants there was the mayor of Fremont, California. And we had a chance to talk before about some of the challenges. And she said, look, it really is budget. And when it comes to budget, Anthony mentioned this and I completely agree. It's not only the budget, but it's seeing that ROI as soon as possible. So one of the common things that you're hearing across all three of us is this operational efficiency component. And Anthony mentioned some of the components in deploying. The other thing we look at is just the cost of the service, the hard costs, right? The operational efficiency, you get to market faster. They're a little bit soft costs, but obviously measurable. But what the services cost, and our model is really you only pay for the services that you actually use, right? This is the model that we give to Velocity, and they pass on as you will. So as you look at municipalities that have seasonal business, that whether it's snow plows or street sweepers that go on and off throughout the year and they're not used for several months, if they're not in use, there's not a charge associated with that. So bringing that same model here with Velocity and passing that on to Rugged, and they can pass that on to the customer, it really allows them from just a raw cost perspective to see the most cost-efficient solution that really adds to that overall operational efficiency and getting them to an ROI as quickly as possible.
Wow, amazing. Thank you. So, Anthony, I would like the next one to start with you. Technology is only as good as the people who use it. How did you ensure that this solution was simple enough for existing public work teams to adapt and manage without needing to become IoT experts?
So again, I've said this on other occasions as well. It's 90% planning and 10% execution, right? So, as Jason mentioned, we have a lot of experience developing product and creating, product for the customer base, right? So, Rugged Telemetry spent a lot of time ensuring that their solution kind of checked all the boxes and made it as simple as possible in order to do this deployment. The ability for us to come in and be that extension of their engineering team, right, and their reliance on us to kind of feed them the information on network behavior and how we would see this product being deployed gives them, right, that extra confidence, right, that the direction that we are taking is the right direction. So when you look at this, and we talked about this, the resilience, the cost savings and everything else, right? it's hard to train people to become IoT experts overnight. And we try to take as much of the thinking out of that as possible. We try and put the expertise in the device and the device planning that they don't have to worry about it. They can do the deployment, they can turn it on, and it just works. And no questions asked, no one complains until it doesn't work, right? And that's why it's important that the planning, the resilience, and everything is built into the product that they've deployed, so that they don't need to become IoT experts. They call us to be the IoT experts.
Curtis, how does it look like from the infrastructure point of view? Which is actually, it can be more complex maybe.
Yeah. I think Anthony hit, you're going to see this common because this is why we work so well together, is that we really have this common perspective. I will tell you, my one mission in this business, in my career, is to make IoT connectivity absolutely as simple as possible for every application in the world. floLIVE, I will say, we have the greatest concentration of connectivity expertise of any IoT company in the world. 100% guaranteed on this. But what we realize is that we have that expertise. We don't want our customers to have that expertise. We want our customers to have very much what many people in the industry would say would be like the iPhone simplicity, intuitive, it just works perspective. And so that's what we bring to it. We're thinking about this. We wake up every day, go to sleep every night, thinking about how do we make connectivity better. Our partners like Velocity are on the like line of how we make that, not the connectivity better, but the go-to-market strategy better, the actual implementation and deployment better there. So that's really what we wake up every day to help. So ensure that when Jason's delivering a product, he can focus on building robust hardware, designing the back-end solutions there to get the data out and convert that data to business efficiencies. And so our piece is to make the connectivity easy. All of the complexity behind it, there's a spider web of things that are happening in the back end from a network perspective, the SIM perspective there. We simplify that so that you just need to deploy a SIM and it works.
Jason, how do you see it from your side?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of an echo chamber, right? You have floLIVE pushing that down to Velocity, and then it comes in-house. And it's one of the advantages of delivering a turnkey solutions, right? The end users for us, they don't need to be IoT experts. They're experts in operating and managing water systems in this case. Our oil and gas guys, our field operation guys in oil and gas. So, one of the goals in developing the systems that we make, right, is to have something that's highly configurable. So when we deploy a solution to a customer, right, we want everything from the UI, the installation, to be very simple, right? We're creating this for a end user, right, that's operating lift stations and pump houses and tank sites. So somebody with no knowledge of IoT or telemetry for that matter, right, can easily walk through our screens and the way we set up our operations to deploy it out into the field. And then, we worry about the whole IoT connectivity, right? And we rely on our relationships with Velocity and floLIVE to make sure that's always working. And I think to echo what Anthony said is we really don't hear about it unless there's an issue, right? So, a quiet front is good. But yeah, everything we develop from that perspective, we're not expecting our customers to have any knowledge of cellular, satellite, or for that matter, know who the providers are, right? They just want to mount a box and have reliable communication. So for us, our goal is to help them achieve their goals in operating and managing water systems and not really worrying about the connectivity side.
I think that the most important part that everyone is the expert in his domain.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's take it a little bit further and looking ahead 2-3 years down the road. What role do you see new and emerging technologies such as predictive analytics, AI, or advanced sensor technology playing a role in IoT? Curtis, let's start with you.
Yeah, okay. These things are coming, predictive analytics, AI, obviously with sensors being kind of the point of feed back into those that data. As I mentioned earlier, that data has to get from the field to a back end somehow, and connectivity is the way to do that. What I think what we're seeing here is that the foundation is getting laid with the floLIVE connectivity component as a part of that to feed that data back. So that foundation is getting built now, and we're going to see more and more data come back. And as municipalities, companies get that data, what we're going to see is that they're going to then be able to expand how they use that data to create the business efficiencies and outcomes that they're looking for. So really, I think what's key here is that they're future proofing for what's coming by putting that backbone in place today to support getting that data back in.
Anthony, how do you see that? Do you see this requirement coming from your customers for these advanced capabilities?
Yeah, I mean, we're already looking at how we utilize AI and other data sets, right, to make our business and our offering more efficient. We're looking at how we can be more predictive in the behaviors of some of these data models. So when we look at the next 2-3 years, right, the evolution of IoT, what does that mean? How much is AI integrated into our platform and what we offer to our customers? I mean, we definitely feel like there is a lot that we can do. And then the question is, when do we allow this to start tying into the offering that we have? But yeah, it's not just us as Curtis mentioned, into the customers and how they're utilizing their data, right? It's also going to play into a factor to make them and their offering more efficient. So the municipalities, right, adapting this information, they need the information to flow, right? I think we've mentioned this from a resilience standpoint. So in some ways it changes a lot, but in other ways it doesn't change what we're doing over the next 2-3 years as far as our strategy and how we look at the infrastructure. We need to make sure that the data flows down through the pipe because that's what we do, right? So we're going to continue to support our customers in doing their development and implementations. We're going to continue to make sure that the data is passed down through whatever channel it needs in order to make it to where it needs to go. We're going to continue to focus on the localized deployments in order to meet government regulations and anything else that might occur, but also just to keep that data flowing. So from a 2-3 year standpoint, I don't see much in changing how we're offering services or how we're doing business.
Jason, from your perspective, working with the municipalities, do you see them starting looking on those new technology?
Yeah, so I think my vision of AI and that predictive analysis is probably going to be a little bit different, where I think Curtis and Anthony are looking at AI and that predictive analytics when it comes to communication. We're starting at a data set. So for me, those emerging technologies are really playing a role today. So, AI and predictive analytics, it's a key focus area for municipalities because it's about managing equipment. It's about managing the efficiency of the operation. And that requires a robust data set, right? And it all starts with good data. So, in order from our side for AI and that predictive analytics to be good, we need consistent data, right? If you have delayed data or bad data, right, that's going to produce bad results with your analytics and your AI. So I'm not sure what the next generation sensors will provide, right? Because it's one of the most exciting markets out there, what they're doing and building different sensors, but we're building to adapt and change. So when we look at the hardware side of our operation, right, we want definable sensor inputs. Our platform is really designed to quickly adapt, right, and change to those sensors so we can take that data and we can push it into our AI engines. And I think the foundation of building these systems is to do it with some open architecture from our side, right? So we could allow for the expansion and be able to easily adapt to the changes that we're going to see in the field. And as it circles back to the communication side, right? I need to be able to take whatever data I'm looking at and in real time, making sure that information is getting back. So, we're using AI probably a little bit different because we're using AI to monitor and control pumps. So that's kind of how we're looking at it from municipalities, right? And making sure that we have everything in place as those innovations change.
Yeah, if I may, as Jason reminded me of something here that we bring to the table. If you look at the network infrastructure from a legacy perspective, this has been a black box. And if you look at predictive analytics and AI and how do you get to effective outcomes, one of the things that's absolutely mandatory is that the black box of the network has to become a part of that data set, right? So we're looking at how the network logs that we get in real time. This was a key point that Jason brought up. I 100% agree that we're able to provide network information in real time to even further enhance what they're going to get from sensors. So they understand when sensor is doing something, some anomaly happens with the sensor, part of that will be what happens and how that's impacted with the network logs. And we're going to be able to provide that information to customers so they can further enhance their models.
Amazing. Jason, your business is a global presence, right? You are based both in the US and South America. So for Velocity, Anthony had to bring a global solution to be able to serve you whenever or wherever that your service is needed. How does your partnership make it happen?
Sure. Right. So I think it's why we're all together here, right? One of the reasons we chose Velocity, right? Knowing what they've put in place and the role they play is we don't have to, right, understand all the things that go on in communications in South Africa, right? We don't have to understand MZ profiles in Africa. And for us as our customers, a water operator in Africa, they have the same challenges as they have in the States or South America. And I'm going to circle this back to your first question about resilience and cost, right? We don't need to be in-house experts, right, on, what is the profile going to be and what do we need to be looking for, right? We go to our partnership and say, here's where our deployments are, make sure that we have the best configuration to adopt to wherever these boxes are going to land, right? We're going to concentrate on delivering our solution, right? That's what's most important to us, no matter what country we put it in. And then we are pushing some of that off. And the reason we chose our partners is to make sure we have the strongest communications, right? And more importantly, we can keep our costs in check no matter where we go.
And from your side, Anthony, how do you make it happen for you? For Jason?
Yeah, so it's Jason and I go back, so there is quite a bit of trust already built up, right? So when he comes to us with an application that he needs to be extremely diverse in the deployment strategy and to still be cost effective, right? He's relying on us to give him the best solution possible, and of course, that's our focus, right? If you don't if you're not getting a good experience from your product, you're gonna, shop it around somewhere else, right? That's at the end of the day what's going to happen, right? So we want to make sure that our customers are getting all their needs met by their deployment strategy. So, we'll sit down, we'll have the conversation in regards to, where Jason's product is going, how it's going to be deployed, what's going to happen. In some cases, when it goes into, for example, like regions like Brazil or Turkey, or someplace where, there's no permanent roaming and you have to have localized IMSIs, that's the benefit of how we integrate also into floLIVE. We take that role and initiative where we go and we start putting that strategy together and what it looks like. So when Rugged Telemetry does a deployment in South Africa, we load, or we prepare to load, the localized IMSI for that region to make it easier and more cost effective in deployment. So it's actually, I mean, a lot of this is trust, right? We've built up a trust, and it's what we try to do with all our customers. But we build up a trust and the rapport that we make sure that they come to us before the deployment, right? So we can go through the testing, so we can go through the evaluation, so we make sure that it gives him the ability to put that product into place and scale it up as needed.
Cool. So as we are about to finish the time that we have for today, I would like to ask each and every one of you if you can give one piece of advice to a public work director, a municipality worker, city manager, looking to adding modern network or network infrastructure, what it would be? Anthony, can we start with you?
Sure. I guess the final thought would be, yeah, I mean, again, IoT is a tough place. There's a lot of moving parts, and what you want to do is make sure you do your research, and follow, again, a trusted advisor, and look at, of course, Rugged Telemetry and its partners, and understand that when you're working with us, it's more of a it's a partnership instead of a customer vendor relationship, right? That's not what we want. That's not how we grow our businesses here. For all of the partners here, Flow and Rugged and Velocity. We look at this as a partnership. So find your next partner, don't find your next vendor.
Jason?
Yeah, I guess my advice would be, right, you got to start by choosing the right technology, right? Not one that's going to solve today's problems, but you want something that's going to scale to the future. I think too often municipalities, right, they invest in systems that are either locked into a single communication path, maybe a vendor, data format, right? It doesn't matter, right? You don't want to limit your flexibility in rolling these out. So, really focus on that open, right, reliable, redundant communication as a piece of it. So your cellular satellite, you never want to be offline. And I think upgrading infrastructure is not about replacing that equipment that you have out there, right? You're really building resilience, and you want to future-proof your operations. You want to give your team all the tools they need to make better, faster decisions, right? And it's how we design these solutions, right? We take a look at all these different pieces. So for me, it would definitely be keeping an open mindset and really designing around where you're going, not really just replacing that equipment.
Thank you. Curtis, your final thoughts here.
Yeah, maybe very similar thoughts, maybe just a few different words, but and I'll go back to the conversation I had with the mayor. If you look at these projects and all municipalities and cities are looking to modernize their infrastructure and go to the next level. The first thing is that this is not a one-time project. Jason's point, you're not just trying to fix something immediately, but you really need to look at it from a long-term journey. that you're going to need to grow and change as needs grow and change as well. So to me, it's not about just that finding that one piece. It's about going back to the foundation and saying, what do I need for this foundation? I need a good technology partner and who's providing the application. But I wouldn't just look at that technology partner. I'd look at their connectivity piece as well and who they're connected with from a connectivity perspective. As we mentioned here, like the ecosystem is broad, but there are people like Jason, like Anthony, that combine all of the technologies to help them go to market faster with a robust solution that's really ready for the future, ready for now and prepared for the future, I should say. And so I would just look at not just one partner, but who that partner is working with from a connectivity perspective to make sure you're prepared for the long term.
Wow, amazing. Thank you. So it's about the end of the time that we have for today. So first of all, I would like to thank you, Anthony, Jason, and Curtis, for joining us today and participant. I want to say thank you for all of our participants. The webinar recording will be available for you very, very soon. So again, thank you all for coming today. It was a pleasure to host you here.